In 1532, Thomas Cromwell became Henry's chief minister. Unlike Henry, he was a radical Protestant who saw Luther as a progressive force. An ally of Anne Boleyn, he saw the King's Great Matter as an opportunity to advance the Protestant cause. So Cromwell began to weave some expert political propaganda. He assured Henry that there was a way to get him his divorce, improve his finances, and enhance his political power. It would just take 2 Acts of Parliament. The first was drafted in 1533. This is the real, actual Act in Restraint of Appeals. And because this act banned appealing to the Pope in ecclesiastical matters, it meant that Catherine was now banned from appealing to the Pope in her and Henry's great matter. From this point onwards, it would be Parliament, not the Pope, it would be London, not Rome, that would be the final authority on the constitutional affairs of England. By this time, Anne had succumbed to Henry's advances. And in January 1533, before the act had even been passed, Anne discovered she was pregnant. To make sure a potential baby boy was legitimate, they quickly got married. Henry, who was still married to Catherine, was now a bigamist. The Pope expelled him from the Catholic Church. This guaranteed that Henry would burn in hell for eternity. But Henry didn't seem to mind too much, because with Cromwell busy drafting his revolutionary acts, Henry seemed to feel that his powers were limitless. A year later, Cromwell produced a second bill, the Act of Supremacy. This made Henry the supreme head of a new Church of England and severed all ties with Rome. But how could he possibly justify this massive break with Rome? Well, the first clue comes in the very first line of the Act in Restraint of Appeals, where we begin to see Cromwell emerging as one of history's biggest fibbers. It says, "By diverse and sundry old authentic histories and chronicles, it's manifestly declared and expressed that this realm of England is an empire, governed by one supreme head and king having the dignity and royal estate of the imperial crown." What he's saying here is that Henry rules an empire. He is an emperor, as kings of England have been for centuries. And emperors are beholden to nobody, certainly not to the Pope. But where did this whole idea of empire come from? Who was Cromwell kidding? The truth is that Henry had no empire beyond the British Isles, apart from a precarious foothold in Calais that was increasingly expensive to defend from the French. But Cromwell wasn't about to let facts like these get in the way of his master plan. To justify the passage of power from Rome to London, he manipulated English history. This is the 12th century book that Cromwell used as his source and his justification. It's the history of the kings of Britain by a Welsh monk called Geoffrey of Monmouth. And in it, he takes the story of the kings of Britain right back to one of Britain's best-loved legends, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. But this is really pseudo-history. It's more like a collection of fairy stories. But these fairy stories were the diverse and sundry old authentic histories and chronicles Cromwell was relying upon for his claim that England really was an empire.